Welcome, this is Melinda Barlow, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher. And today's lesson is Shipz by Melanie, Marty, CZT. And it's just a wonderful tangle that just gives you lots of room to explore. And I don't want to waste any time just talking about it, but I've got to say one thing. If you have not been watching or doing the 12 Days of Christmas with Zentangle.com, you're missing out on a fun project. It's three-dimensional and some wonderful tangles pop up there. We're going to do Shipz by Melanie Marty today. And I gave it a little twist. If you looked at her step outs, you would see that this is not look at all like her tangle, but that's the way Zentangle is. They never look the same. And I'm going to use this Micron 01, and I'm going to come up with a semi-straight line. You can see it. Maybe I need to come in a little bit so you can see it a little bit more. There it is. And then my second stroke comes down and around and down the stem. So it makes this kind of a, I don't know, a flag looking. I just liked it. It looked organic. Then my third stroke comes and makes this wonderful little kind of a flower pot. I could not resist thinking, well, I should do this going the opposite direction. Right? And now I can do it going either direction. And then I thought it needed to have a little bit of a stem to it so that it had a stem. And I'm going to make this all come out of this little hole here. You're going to see I'm going to have many more pop out of here. But there's the tangle. And so I'm going to do it again for you. Here we come up. And this one's going to do a behind. So this one looks like it kind of fits behind. I love when we do that, when that happens. I'm going to let that one kind of get carried away. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to remember it goes down and around and down. To the other side. And then the stem. And I like to make mine even kind of come out. And in order to do this one, I'm going to have to rotate it around so I'm going the right direction. And I could just leave this as half of the flower petal and draw my stem. Got to rotate my tile and my stem kind of coming down and around. Maybe I came in a little bit too much. There we go. So you can see how they are just kind of popping out of here. And even a smaller one. Coming out of there. The little stem. and coming down. And the thing about it is Zentangle is something you can just elaborate on. You get to just kind of make your own little tangle. You know, not following any kind of rules at all. So I've got them kind of mushed in there. And now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to give this some, what I always call drama. So I'm going to color in and very light touch with my pen. Otherwise, I tend to push too hard and ruin my 01 pens. So sometimes when I fill in, I will take and I'll say, oh, I'm going to take my 05 because it has a bigger tip on the end of it, and I can fill in with the 05 because it just goes a little faster, and I don't have to worry about crushing that tip as much as I do the 01. And I don't really have a rhyme or reason how I fill in. Sometimes I like to outline the outside edge and then fill it in. You know, like kind of outline that. Sometimes I just start filling in. But you can see we get a little drama here when we get some black into this. And I have to rotate so that I'm not putting my hand over the top of that ink, because it does dry, but it takes a little bit longer once you put down a heavy amount of ink. So there we have our drama in here. And sometimes I think, oh, I just would like to see some vine, and so I'm going to put just a little ribbony vine coming out of that hole, and you know, just because I kind of felt festive. And I changed back to my 01, and I'm gonna put just some feathery lines coming up out of that center right there. So if you were just doing one, it would come out, and just really light pressure so it almost skips. More movement to your tangle. And then I always think, what could I do on my backgrounds that would make this just a little bit more fun? I'm going to, I don't know, make this little hole a little bit. And I'm going to fill it in on the sides here so that it looks like they're coming out of underneath. I'll have to come back and make sure I really fill that in. And so, and I think, oh, what can I do? You know, can I do something within the little spaces? Can I fill it up a little bit more? I've made my ships very close together so that they kind of fill it up a little bit. And I'm thinking, can I come? No, I don't like that. So on this one, I did a little, I can't remember what that tangle's called, but sometimes you can just do some lines in the background, vertical lines that fill up this background space. Just to give it a little bit of texture. I don't know. Just for me, I just sometimes like to give it a little bit more. Sometimes I fall back on my orbs, I'll get some orbs will go smidged in here. And so now I'm going, I think these have dried enough. We want to make sure that dries good before we add our color. And so I am going to add this is a dark green. So instead of red, I'm going to go with a dark green up here at the top. And this is a Prismacolor. You're going to see me do the same thing that I've done in other videos where I add my Prismacolor, just a little line of color. And on my little 1/2, and then I'm going to take my shading stump. And this shading stump's kind of used quite a few times, so I'm going to just take it and clean it off, and it will have a little, but I want the color cleaned off of it. And I'm going to open my odorless paint thinner and get my shading stump damp on the end, and then I'm going to be able to blend that color down into my tangle. And it doesn't take much of that odorless paint thinner, just a tiny little bit. And so I always make sure I keep my odorless paint thinner capped so that it will evaporate. So you want to keep it capped so it doesn't evaporate on you. Doesn't put any chemicals into your studio. I can't smell it, so I don't know. That's why I guess they call it odorless, is so I think it does have a light oily smell, and I've tried to do it with mineral oil. You get somewhat of the same, but not as vibrant of color blending. It's just not as vibrant. So I've gone back to the odorless paint thinner. I thought I might change when I've done a little video, so if you want to go back and look at the video where I compared odorless paint thinner and mineral oil, you can see them. So, and there we have a little green in there. I don't mind pencil, but I have found that if I go with my color pencils in my black instead of using graphite, I just like that it's just a little darker, and it doesn't give you that kind of a glossy look, or graphite will shine and kind of show a glisten on your, when you put it under the light. And I have a little green left on there, so I'm just going to pull this out with little strokes. And because it was the black, I had green on there. It didn't really matter because I had the black was darker, and I don't want to rub in circles. I'm going to just stroke out from the bottom. And again, I didn't get my my shading stump wet again. I try to use them over and over, and so that they I just have a lot of use out of them. And just give it a little shading right there. Now, I have to make sure that the odorless paint thinner is not wet in order to go back and do some over the top of the black. I'm going to put a white jelly roll over the top of the black. And if your black is not dry, you won't get that stark white color. You'll get a muddied kind of color on your jelly rolls. But so you can see, I'm getting having lots of fun with this one. Now I just capped my jelly roll and put it back. And now I'm going to just put a little bit more movement in here by putting some tiny, tiny dots of color on my Shipz Tangle. Just tiny, tiny little dots. Just little flecks of black that kind of go up through the tangle, up into that color. And instead of my fescue, which I love, I really think I need one more, a little ribbon. Put my little a little ribbon coming out of there, and then I am going to add some little. I think I want them going this way. Kind of little commas, or I call them flux, tiny little flux. And this also helps add a little movement to your tangle. So I try to do those tiny little flux. And I did these on one in my just recent videos, and I kind of fell in love with it. And I just give it a little bit of, you know, just a little bit of movement with those dots. And you can see how fun that little tangle is. It's got just a festive little look. And I could come back in here and add some color down in between where I've put my little, I don't know what that's called, little lines, and a little bit of color coming out of that. And always fun to go back and add a little jelly roll, fill in those little dots with a little bit of color from a colored jelly roll, and also maybe some little color crawling up the outside of a stem. Just fun. And this was Shipz by Melanie, Marty, CZT, and Melanie. I had a great time with this Tangle. It was fun and kind of just relaxing. That's what Zentangle's all about. Relaxation and enjoyment. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. New videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And have a great day.